days. It should be good. Okay, I will start. It is, oh gosh, what is today? It's Monday, May 26th, I think? Yeah. 2024. And I am at the Marlboro Ale, the 49th Marlboro Ale. And I am talking to Sel, who is a member of the Windsor Morris, who have come over here from England to attend the ale this year. Sel, let me give you a chance to say your name and tell us where you are from.
My name's Sel Ademu. I am from the UK. I live in Surrey, but I'm here with Windsor Morris. Over in the States for the first time ever.
This is your first time over here? Oh my gosh, I'll have to ask you about that as well, about driving on the right side of the road.
Thankfully, I've not been the one driving, right. So I've not had to do that. But yeah, right. So excited to be over here, and I'm glad that we got a team interested in coming over this year. So
I am too. This is wonderful.
The invitation has been on our list for a couple of years, and each time it's just, it's difficult to get people holiday and things like that. So
I'm sure
we've made it.
It's no small task to get over here, and I know that the team first came over here in 1981.
Yeah.
And met the Marlboro women, and we have stories both from Marlboro women and from Beth Neal about how your two teams met each other, and you were both women trying to dance Morris in a more male-dominated landscape at the time, and working really hard to be better than good, and really make a statement as women doing Morris. So hooray that you're part of that legacy. That's pretty wonderful.
And I joined Windsor Morris coming up to 10 years ago.
Wow.
So I joined just before their 40th anniversary celebrations.
Oh my gosh.
And we're just prepping for the 50th, so we've got
of course your 50th must be coming up soon too.
So we start the celebrations in September, and then we're hoping to have a big do in July-ish next year with inviting teams to.
That is
so yes,
exciting.
That's
okay.
And obviously, because we are very proud of the team's history, and even those of us who've joined a lot more recently still know what it was like for women dancing at that time.
Right. So let me back up then. How did you stumble upon Morris dancing? Do you come from Morris dancing family roots?
I've got two routes into this, because I go to a lot of festivals. So I go to a lot of different kinds of festivals, and started going to a lot of folk festivals. Was dancing at a ceilidh, and someone just said, have you ever thought of trying Morris dancing? By the way, I think they lived locally to me. They said, "Here's
Had you heard
Wednesday
of it at
evenings."
This point? Did you know what Morris dancing was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played in my school band, and we used to play in village fetes, and there was always Morris dancing there. Yeah. So it is something I knew about. But I went along, and it was a border team I joined to start off with, and joined that, and really loved it. And I like this crazy world of just going and dancing at festivals and dancing at events, and
it is a whole world unto itself,
isn't it?
and
pub nights, and then the music sessions afterwards. So it just started taking over, and then I joined another border team, and then I joined a Northwest team.
Got the bug.
So I'm in three teams at the moment.
Great.
So I dance, obviously Cotswold with Windsor, also do Northwest with a team in Berkshire. And I've joined a Molly team as well. I don't know if you saw the skit yesterday, but I did a bit of Molly dancing.
That was the most marvelous skit. I hope we've got that on video.
That's now it's just it takes over my life. I spend most of my weekends at events, various places, but Windsor, Cotswold, I found, I think, physically the hardest for me to do, especially because we aim for such high standards. So
it is pretty physically demanding.
It is tough work. Right. My legs are definitely suffering today after the days, and I'm regretting our choice to go and dance in Cambridge this evening.
Might be nice for a day off. That's right.
But I got it in that way. But the other story is that actually when I first started playing music or being interested in music was when I was very small. I was about 3, and it turns out that the music I was listening to, and my mum and dad's friend was is a Morris dancer, and he used to run the Jack in the Green festival in Hastings.
Okay.
So he was actually playing the music, and that was the music I started listening to.
Oh, wonderful! So you got this niche music early exposure.
I thought I'd come to Morris dancing all on my own, but it turns out it was an influence from my early years. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. What is it? The subconscious influence of.
Yes, yeah.
The earworms in your head that you're singing are Morris tunes.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
Okay.
and I think what I like about it, obviously I knew about it in the UK, but also here is just that it's such a family, and everyone is friendly to each other. It's a shared bit of niche
yes
hobby, and people are welcoming to you, so it's a really nice environment to be in.
It's interesting over here because there was such a folk revival in the mid-1970s, and Morris dancing just caught on at that time. And all of those dancers, who I would say are maybe about 10 years ahead of me, are kind of getting into their 70s and are still dancing, wanting to hang on to this. And so their children grew up in Morris dancing, but now their children are the ones having children.
Yeah.
And there are a number of us just commenting on how we're watching everything come full circle, but how odd it is to be now at the older end of this multi-generational thing, watching the younger ones take over, but being the ones to step out of dancing and hold the babies or take care of the stuff so the younger ones can step in and do it. So it is very much a multi-generational community.
We have a lot of that in England as well, where it's families and the kids. So we have like the NIFTY organisation, National Youth Folk. You're gonna have to look that up.
Oh, okay. Oh,
NYFTE, but that's where so a lot of the kids of the folkies, the kids of the Morris dancers and the session musicians and everything go and join this, and they learn all forms of Morris dancing. They learn singing, they learn to play music, folk music, and they get together and they perform, but it's also just the learning experience. And a lot of them then, when they have to leave because it's the upper age limit, they go and form teams or join some of the young teams, and so they're actually just getting the next generation being pre-trained. So they just come in having learned everything, and they choose so they then when you get a lot of teams who then do more than one style, so because the people that join them have been used to doing lots of different things. But that's the next. It's good to
see the next wave coming.
It is going to continue. It's quite hard to recruit adults when I suppose in the UK there are a lot of teams in small areas. You've got two of us from Berkshire.
Right.
We're not we've got local teams that are very, very close to us as well. So the pool of people that we're trying to introduce into Morris dancing is small, and we're all in a squished area, so it just becomes a little bit more difficult. But then you've got the next generation coming in, so it will be safe, and that it's going to continue. And there are some teams that just don't ever, they have so many people who can recruit. Some of the village teams where it's a big pride point to be a member of your Morris team.
Right, and so the village knows about this tradition and has a context for it.
So it's, you almost get, in those contexts, you get I'm thinking particularly there's some men's teams where they get the sort of young man into the team who's no interest in folk, no interest in the wider world, but does it because it's his village's
right, because it's what you do.
Which I think is like more of maybe a bit what was traditional, and now it's become something where we keep it going because we're interested in it, but we're not. It's not that same. You go. You live in that village. You join that team. And that's just what you do. So it's an interesting world.
Yeah. So let me ask you next just about what are some of the typical kinds of events that Windsor will dance at over the course of a dance season? What's your dance season look like?
There are some events. There are a lot of folk festivals. Some of them are the smaller ones, which have a lot more focus on the Morris dancing, and less on the events.
Right.
We are lucky. We dance to a high standard, and people know who we are. So we get some of the big festival invitations in the UK.
Oh,
so
nice.
we do Sidmouth, we do Whitby, we do Shrewsbury, and those sorts of events. We like doing that. We also we dance in village fates sometimes, that sort of event. We have 3 of our own events each year, which we call home tours, where people get to come and dance in Windsor. Windsor is an amazing place to dance if you from a historical point of view, and you can have your team photos with the Windsor Castle in the background.
Yes, I have been there. It's an amazing town.
But you have it's all tourists, so they absolutely love to see Morris dancing.
Oh, and you have a huge ready audience.
So unlike a lot of days of dance where you have passing interest but nobody's really stopping, we get a lot of people want to take our photos and
nice.
Stop and watch for the duration. So it's always a really nice one to do, and we have 3 of these tours, typically like May, June and September. Right. And we invite a selection of teams that we were interested in dancing with.
And how many teams would you typically invite to a tour?
So we used to invite, maybe we'd invite or hope to get maybe 3 teams to an event. This year we used to invite teams to, would you come to our May home tour? And then that's fine. This year we invited all of the teams we wanted to do and gave them the 3 dates and allowed them to choose, which means that we've had a smaller tour in May. Our next one is huge. The September one is not fully confirmed yet, but it means that we wanted to give the freedom, because sometimes it's difficult for people to get holidays. Sure. We'd also like to get teams that are from further away in the UK, because we dance often with with Berkshire Bedlam. We dance with them all the time, and it's nice to get some teams from further away. But it's working out as a logistical nightmare for the person who's organising it. Because then it's like, do we do 2 tours doing separate things, or do we keep everyone together? So but those events are also, it's good fun, and we have started now doing dancing outside pubs for we replace a Wednesday evening dance practice with a pub night instead. So
perfect.
But that tends to be a little bit more informal. It's a great way of getting the newer dancers who are not yet confident just dancing in kit for the first time, especially because we can't practice on our bells anymore because the sound in the hall is so bad.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So we used to practice in bells, which is unusual, I think, for a lot of teams, but we used to do it and it was just the standard. And then now the acoustics in the hall have changed, and even one set of bells is unbearable. Too much, it's always good to have these pub nights to test the waters, as it were.
So this is your first time in the U.S. now, and coming to this event as well. So I'm just curious to hear your reactions to this crazy, wild, intense weekend.
Well, it was, I guess, so beforehand, obviously we just booked to come over, and, I was really excited to come over, but we were asking Beth and the people who'd been before, what's it like? And none of the description, they would just go, oh no, everyone's, get hosted, everyone's really lovely, and there's so much hospitality, it's really friendly, but actually getting any detail about what we were doing.
Event itself. That's right.
So we've had, it's been amazing. I think we were lucky because we flew in Thursday. And
before.
Yeah, but we went, Rat and Suki sorted out our initial accommodation because we would not have been really good to do much then. And then obviously we had a little explore of Amherst before coming up here. We've hired the massive vehicles
to travel together.
Drive
That's
us
good.
together.
That's
So it's just sorry. So we So we drove up, we arrived, and I don't even think we'd really pictured what it would look like at all. But it's been wonderful, and it's just, we keep trying to make a comparison to, and what it's like, because there's a lot of differences in how sort of event. Yeah. And I think the things like the all 20 teams performing, and then you're standing around watching, going, oh, this is great. We're getting to see everyone. Quite often in the UK, you get farmed off immediately to a tour of a smaller number of people, so you never actually see everyone. So that was really, really good. We think that the amount of time we spent dancing versus the amount of time we spent eating is quite different. There's definitely more of the food and the hospitality than we were expecting. Yeah. But we really did enjoy. Both days. The weather was obviously amazing, but rather too hot.
We never know for this weekend. It could be.
I'm reading like this, which is not so.
We're in a cloud bank this morning, and it's raining, but it's been glorious the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And some days it will be glorious one day and snowing the next day. We just never know. So I'm glad it was beautiful.
Yes, it was beautiful. It was very hot and beautiful, and we really loved it. And I think. I'm going to say, particularly, I loved yesterday where we went off and did a tour, because it was nice and relaxed. I think we had an excellent group of other teams to be with. We got a lot of good singing on the bus. Good. And it was just a really nice. And we also got to go to the pizza brewery place that overlooks, has the amazing view.
Up at the top of the mountain?
Yeah,
on Hogsback
Mountain, yeah.
Yes.
So
that's
that I think
lovely.
We lucked out a bit with that location as well. So it's just been really good. It is hard to think of how it would compare to anything in the UK though, because the ales, like or days of dance or whatever, or weekends of dance, there isn't really anything that has this level of hospitality. So it tends to be more. The dancing, and then you all go off and do your own things. There's only one that there's a team that host an event, but it's much smaller. They invite very few teams, but then it's a lot of eating and drinking in the evenings, and it is that like. This is sort of a combination of all of the bigger days of dance with then that. So I think the catering arrangements and all of the planning must be quite a tough job to organise.
Yeah. It has definitely evolved over 50 years.
Yeah, but I'm sure.
Did not start this way.
I'm sure. Right. But it's, I think, and everyone has just been so friendly. We've had really nice comments on our dancing, but also just people chatting, wanting to find out more. Yeah. There's a lot of people who remember the last time we came over, which I think was in 2003.
Wow, so 20 years.
Yeah,
20
so
years.
I think, a lot of people the people who couldn't come over with us are saying, oh, just say hi to the people, say hi to everyone I know, because
you form such friendships through this community.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's even, you wouldn't necessarily expect it if you're so far apart geographically that that those friendships would continue over the years like that. But it's obviously something that's had a big impact on everyone that's been here before, and we certainly are. Finding this has changed our perception a lot, and it's just really nice, I think, to see the American teams, because we always watch them when they come over to Sidmouth or whatever, but you don't get the general sense of it, because firstly, a festival like Sidmouth, they will invite the top tier teams, but you also
don't get a cross section of everyone in between.
And you don't get a cross section of the styles as well, because a festival like Sidmouth has to balance the different types of dancing. For us, I think obviously it's been great to see everyone, but the sword dancing particularly, which is something where there are long sword teams in England that still perform a lot, but it's not anywhere near as I suppose not that many teams. You wouldn't get that much longsword in a day, even with 20 teams. So that's really interesting. But it's all just been wonderful to see everything. So I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for making the effort to get over here. I know that whenever there are English teams coming over to the Ale, everyone gets so excited. Like, okay, here's our friends from across the Atlantic who do this thing that we're trying to tap into, this dance form, and just getting to see the similarities and the differences is such fun.
We've had a lot of questions from people, like from every team. People have been saying, how does what we do, how's it similar, how's it different from in England? So yeah, there's been a lot of that. And I think the one thing that we think, like we've had little chats about it with the team, is there's more freedom in the American dancing. It's more open for interpretation. It's like, I think it's not so much a traditionalist in England, but people don't push boundaries as much as we see with the American teams, and that's where you get like things just have evolved to being more interesting or more like different, and you get more variety. So in England, if people are doing a tradition and a dance from that tradition, everyone will do it in a very similar way, whereas this has got a little bit more variety, even within that. We want to take
it in this direction or that direction.
And change things, which is much harder, I think, in England. I don't know, but yes, it's been very. I think. Good. I think I need to.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk, and I hope the rest of your tour is fabulous.
Thank you so much.